Good, y'all. Welcome back to the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr, and I've been thinking, bro. I've been looking at a lot of these recruiting classes and everything like that because this is the time of the year for that. But my mind always drifts to next year and who's gonna be at the top at the end of the season next year. Even though it's way too early, I just can't help but think it. That's all I think about, right? Everybody goes to basketball, I stay on football. When it comes to Jackson State, everything that happened to them last year happened at the right time. It could not happen at a perfect time. And we couldn't see it back then, but man, it really happened at a great time for Jackson State. Because now, what y'all went through last year, losing 60 players, having a new coaching staff, having to rebuild that chemistry, right? It happened to everybody else. It happened to everybody else this offseason, which means y'all are now in the driver's seat to get back to Atlanta. At the very least, the SWAC championship. Y'all are in the driver's seat. However, there's three main obstacles that stand in your way next season, in my opinion. So let's talk about it. You see, when it comes to Jacobian Morgan, I've been a big fan of him. I've been a big advocate for him. You guys know that. I have been advocating for him to be the starter. I love the way he plays the game. He does not put the football in harm's way. I always said all he needed to do was get the timing down with his receivers, develop that relationship, and they'd be great. And we saw that progression ever since he took over the starting job. Jacobian Morgan, if he plays up to expectations, that's already one of the biggest things you have going for you right there. You see, Jacobian Morgan is a threat to run the football, which means you don't have to sub out, okay, and put another quarterback in who's a little bit more savvy in that area. Okay, you don't have to do that because he gives you everything now. He gives you the arm and he gives you the mobility. But in terms of what stands in your way, it's pretty obvious, right? FAMU and Alabama State. Alcorn State would be the third, but I do think y'all would beat Alcorn State this year. Now with FAMU, Coach Cozy, right? They're going through a coaching change. They got to rebuild that staff. They got to rebuild a lot of that roster. They lost a lot of key guys. There was a lot of drama this offseason, so much so that the drama kind of superseded the fact that they were HBCU national champions. It superseded it. They lost a lot of guys. All of those commits that they have coming from Florida State, they lost a lot of them. But they retained some as well. James Cozy, to his credit, he's done a really good job of bringing some of these guys back. The corner from UNLV, he's brought back. Two players, one of them being a former four-star running back from Florida State, he's brought back and got to recommit to Florida State. Got to recommit to FAMU. So I'm not saying Florida A&M is going to beat you. I don't think they are. I think they still have too much to build with. And honestly, the quarterback that they have in place right now to be QB1, I am not a believer in. He's gonna have to show me. He's gonna have to make me a believer. I don't think he can get it done and get them undefeated to Atlanta. I just don't see it happening. So I don't think that FAMU will beat you, but FAMU quite literally is still a threat in some way. They haven't fallen off completely. That wide receiver room, very talented. A lot of 4-stars reside in that room. Okay, they're just inexperienced. That running back room could possibly be the best as far as depth goes in the SWAC. So FAMU, still dangerous, but I do think you can beat them. Now, the real test is Alabama State. And again, this is just my opinion. You see, Alabama State, they are bringing back a lot of talent defensively, and they already were the number one defense in the SWAC last year. They gave up the least amount of points. I mean, they were great. We have to be honest about that. Alabama State was great defensively. You bring back 2 cornerbacks, because you had 3. One of them is going to the draft. All right, he has no more eligibility left. So that leaves you with 2 more cornerbacks who was top. One was ranked number 5, the other was ranked number 6 in the SWAC statistically. You bring them back as a duo. So now you probably have the best duo in the secondary. You got Adams back. Your defense, man. And you even have an edge rusher who was top 10 in sacks? Pushing top 5? Their defense is still going to be really good. And I project them to have probably the number 1 defense going into next year. And now, their biggest addition of the offseason, Andrew Body. Preseason All-American. Preseason All-Conference. Got hurt in the first game. He looks a lot better now. I've talked to his father. I saw the videos. He's healthy. He's hungry. The only question I have for Alabama State is, do they have the weapons to support Andrew Body? Do they have the weapons to support him? He's going into a better situation than he had at Texas Southern, but is it good enough? Is it good enough to get him to where he's trying to go? That's my only question. You lose Keshawn Johnson, he's gone. Are you going to be primarily a running team? Is it going to be a lot of RPOs? Is it like, what are we looking at as far as the offense goes? But Andrew Body does make a big difference now. So this would be the biggest test. I always said if Andrew Body had help, he could probably be something. So if Jackson State gets past Alabama State, because again, I do think they'll get past FAMU, and I think they'll get past Alcorn. Bama State is up in the air for me. If they get past Alabama State, you're potentially looking at a Celebration Bowl team. Y'all have a really good chance of getting back to Atlanta this year. It's going to come down to those 3 games. And we all know you have the talent to do it. We all know what you bring back defensively. These are going to be some battles, man. Especially this game versus Bama State. It's going to be a battle. So, you let me know what you think down below in the comment section, because me personally, I think it's going to make for some great football this upcoming season. Also, I really need y'all help, because I don't know what Jackson State game to go to this year. I've never been to a Jackson State homecoming. However, y'all are playing UAPB, so it's not going to be the most exciting game. So I'm deciding between that and whenever FAMU comes to Jackson State. So y'all let me know down in the comments below which game would you like to see me at, so I can go ahead and start booking this stuff. Would you like to see me at homecoming? Would you like to see me versus FAMU at the FAMU game? Which one? Because I cannot decide. I truly can't decide. Yeah, but with that being said, man, y'all are watching the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr, and I'm out. Peace.